Golly, that's good. I cracked myself up. I still haven't found my first Blanton's. That's different. I really like that. They're like together, like peas and carrots. That's funny. Sometimes accidents are good things. Peychauds or Peychauds or Peychaud. This is not what I expected. Hey, happy Drinksgiving. I know it's supposed to be Thanksgiving, but for me it's Drinksgiving. Hi, it's Thursday, it's our regular scheduled night, and it happens to be Thanksgiving at the same time. And I cannot believe that I have not done this sooner than today. How could I have been doing 185 Bourbcasts? That's where we are tonight, 185, without doing Wild Turkey 101 ever. I don't know. There's something very, very wrong with us. If you have never seen Stripes, you'll never get that joke. But if you've seen Stripes, you'll understand that joke. Very, very wrong with us. All right. Let's get this going. I got two of them here. I got the Wild Turkey 101 Bourbon and the Wild fucking Rye. It's a food coma. It has nothing to do with alcohol. It's a food coma. Turkey does this to you. It's doing it to me. Okay. So my mom's in town for Thanksgiving. And Mom likes to drink Black Velvet and 7-Up. And I bought Black Velvet, a Canadian whiskey, 80 proof. I bought it for her because I know she likes to drink it. So we got that out last night. Now, meanwhile, I'm finishing a bottle of Ezra Brooks 99. I had 2 swallows left in the bottle, and I finished it. And there sat the 7-Up and the Black Velvet. I thought, why not? Let's try this. So I put a little ice in the glass, right? I'm making my own skin crawl. Put a little ice in the glass, poured in a little Black Velvet, poured a little 7-Up. That wasn't half bad. It wasn't like doing this, but it wasn't that bad. So, and there's a lot more in a glass than this. I mean, I gulp, I know, but soup, there's not much in this. All right. So, I did not do any research on Wild Turkey 101 or the 101 Rye. It's Thanksgiving. I got family in town. I spent all day slaving over a hot stove and eating pie. So I didn't get a chance to do any research, but I will tell you this about Wild Turkey. I know this fact, and I don't know a whole lot else. I mean, I've done Wild Turkey products before, but never these. But I do remember this. Wild Turkey, everything Wild Turkey is the same mash bill. Everything. It doesn't matter if it's the 81 proof, 101, Long Branch, Russell's, Rare Breed, all those that just happen to be Wild Turkey products, they are all the exact same mash bill. Nothing is different except how long it is aged, where it's aged, what the proof is. Like Russell's 10 is the longest aged normal shelfer for anything Wild Turkey. Now they've gotten a 13, and I think the 13 is the oldest now, but and then of course Rare Breed is the highest proof. But all these are the same mash bill. Now the bourbon and the rye are going to be a different mash bill. That's the only difference. But all of the whiskeys, all the bourbons, are the same mash bill. All the ryes are the same mash bill. They don't change anything for anything. It just happens to be a different aging, a different place, all those different things that makes it different. So that's your factoid that I can remember about Wild Turkey, is that everything's the same. Long Branch. What makes Long Branch different? It's a lower proof, aged for a couple of years, and then they do a secondary aging in a mesquite barrel. It's one of the few things that they actually dump out differently, right? They take it off and they put it in a different style barrel. It still qualifies as bourbon because that first 4 years is in a white oak, virgin oak barrel. But then they move it for a secondary aging in that mesquite barrel, and that's where you get the changes. All right. So just like you'd expect off of any bourbon from Wild Turkey, it's going to have those peanutty overtones. Um, the family's all here. Hi. um, Lots of caramels, a little cinnamon on it. That cinnamon is sweet. Not quite red hot candy sweet, but it's sweet. Yeah, it's got just a really nice balance to that nose. Really, can't believe I haven't done this one before on the Bourbcast. All right. That's an interesting bloom. A lot of it hits after you swallow it, but the part that doesn't, or the part that hits while it's still on the palate, is up on the top of my palate. It didn't bloom down below; it bloomed up above. Kind of really interesting way of moving about. Didn't hit me like 101 proof, but then again, 101 proof isn't exactly hitting it out of the ballpark these days for me. I like some of those higher proofers yet. You know, the barrel proof rare breed would be a great example of that. Whereas this one's just 101. Now, I've had a lot of people tell beginners they should start with a Wild Turkey 101. Don't do that. While the flavors of the Wild Turkey 101 are probably the best indicator of what Wild Turkey is supposed to taste like, honestly, it's 101 proof. So unless you're a proof hound like I am, you're going to want to start lower, because even the 81 proof has got some great flavors. That'll be a great introduction to Wild Turkey if you just start with that 81 proof and just move up from there. This could scare a new bourbon drinker away, so I never say that 101 is the place to start, ever. You want to start with the 81 and then move your way up. I had a guy show up. He was looking for Buffalo Trace week after week after week after week. And I said, "Why do you want Buffalo Trace so bad?" He goes, "Because I hear it's the best." I said, "What other whiskeys have you had?" "None." "What? Have you ever had any whiskey?" "No." I thought if I was going to start, I might as well start with the best. I said, "What if you don't like it? What if you don't like any whiskey?" Whiskey is definitely something that is, it's something that you sometimes have to grow into. Most people don't like whiskey on the first sip, right? It's a growing experience. It's something that you got to. It's almost like beer is a gateway drug, right? Or vodka or gin or something like that, and then slowly but surely you move into whiskey. It's definitely an acquired taste to some, not to everybody, but to some it's an acquired taste. So here he was searching for the best, but he had nothing to compare it to. So I would tell somebody, if they're a brand new bourbon drinker, start with the lower proofs. Get your Evan Williams Black, it's 80 proof. Get this one, it's 81. There's Four Roses, a little spicy for an 80 proof. That's a good one. There's a bunch. There's a bunch that you could choose from. That's where you start. But if you want to have a really nice pour, the 101 is probably the best expression of the Wild Turkey mash bill that I've come across. I really like this one. Now, rare breed, the barrel proof, that's definitely something to write home about. But if you're just looking for a great pour every day, the Wild Turkey 101 is a good one. Now let me see if I can pull some notes out for you. There's a lot of vanilla on this pour. Some honey. I was looking for butterscotch because I haven't had a good butterscotcher in a while. This one this one doesn't have the butterscotch. I would have liked to have found it, but I couldn't find it. But this does have a really nice honey note. The vanillas are strong. There's a really nice oak. The cinnamons are just about perfect in it. Really a very, very nice, well-balanced pour from start to bottom, top to bottom, side to side. Now you're doing the mambo, but it's a good mambo. It's a tasty mambo. All right. We got a lot to get through, so we're going to kind of rip through it here tonight. Got two of them to do. let's do a little water on this one. That's about a milliliter of water to maybe 3 milliliters in the glass. So that's a pretty heavy squirt. We'll see how this goes. I don't think I've ever done water on wild turkey before. I think this is a first. I've never needed to. I shared some of the I was oot and a boot the other day, and I found this one. This is the Crown Royal salted caramel. And it only comes out this time of the year because they stopped making it so they can make the peach, more of the peach. But this time of the year, they allocate a little bit more, and they make so that some of the salted caramel only comes out. And I got a couple of these. So I shared this with Mom last night. Really liked it. Thought it was a little hot, so we added some ice to it. Excuse me. And I had a buddy stop by today for Thanksgiving and shared some with him, and shared some Crown apple with him as well. And he was kind of funny. He's like, yeah, they're good. The peach is better. I said, yeah. I think so. I think the peach is better. All right, so we've got a little bit of this Wild Turkey 101 bourbon on water. Wow. Okay. That seemed to have upped the proof, that upped the flavor. I got a little bubble gum on it, which was odd. I was not expecting that bloom to change with water, and it did. It hit the back of my throat, and I felt that. Whew. Goodness gracious. Oh, that really opened up. Like I said, I've never done Wild Turkey 101 with water, so that was a surprise. Wow. Let's take a little smaller sip this time and see what it does. Yeah, I'm feeling that in my nose. Wow, that really opened that up. Golly. That's surprising how much it opened that up. That's really, the flavors have just blown up. The mouthfeel is fantastic. Really surprising what it did. And the bloom really grew, especially again, it grew more on the tongue and less on the palate. And really hit the back of my throat a lot stronger too, which is not normal for wild turkey. I always feel that in the front. I never feel that in the back, but this I felt in the back. So, yeah. All right. All right. Yeah, that's quite good. All right. What is that? They brought food down to watch the Bourbcast. They're sitting off camera eating food.
He has a name, you know.
On Thanksgiving. Eating food on Thanksgiving. All right. Mm-hmm. I was going to go straight to the rye. We're going to go ahead and do the ice test. Going to go ahead and do it now. And because it's a holiday, I'm bringing out two brand new gorgeous ice spheres. It's gorgeous, isn't it? Shine it up a little bit. Beautiful. Let it snow, let it snow. If it snows a big ice sphere like that, that's not snow, that's hail. Just so we're on the same page. And it wouldn't be gorgeous. It would hurt. But I'd be out there collecting it if it looked like this coming out of the sky. Just in case Paul is watching, Paul, this is in honor of your brand new baby girl. Finger stir. All right, here we go. You know, if you put a little that turkey broth in her bottle, she ought to go right to sleep. I know I go right to sleep after eating turkey. She should too. Don't do that. I'm joking. All right. Okay, so if you wanted to use this in a cocktail, it cuts through on ice really, really well. Flavors is still there. The pop from the heat is gone. The 101 bloom is say bye-bye. But the flavor is still great. Now, it's not going to dilute really, really fast because we're using a clear ice sphere. So, but it did cool down really quick. And sometimes when you cool it down, you mute the flavors. This didn't do it that bad. It did a little bit, but not that bad. So could you use this in a cocktail and still get a lot of the essence of Wild Turkey 101 in the drink? Yeah. Alrighty. It's got a salty side to it. I actually got popcorn off of that. Overwhelming flavor of popcorn. It might go back to that nuttiness that I got early, but that's what it's translating to me now. It could be the corn in the mash bill. I don't know. Something about it just said popcorn. Okay. All right, let's move on. Let's do the rye. This bottle may not make it the rest of the weekend. I just really like this one. Is it my favorite? No, but it's a really, really, really good, solid, well-represented utility whiskey. Just fantastic bottle. You're not going to find a whole lot wrong with this one at all. So, all right, let's change places with it. We'll do the rye. I've got a brand new Glencairn right now. So we're not mixing flavors around except for what's already on my palate. I should probably have had a palate cleanser, but it's Thanksgiving. Why do that? Drinksgiving, pardon me. Drinksgiving. Kevin's watching. Hey, Kevin. Happy Thanksgiving to you too, sir. I'm glad you're here. I hope you had a good time last night. I know you and the gang got together. I hope it was a good get-together with the gang. So, we're doing Turkey Day. Excuse me, if you didn't see the photo, I showed this to somebody and they gave me a nice belly laugh. They thought it was clever. So there's your photo right there. Got the baster and the salt and the pepper. And okay. All right. All right. So this is actually the first time I've ever had the Wild Turkey Rye. I don't remember when I bought it. I don't remember where I found it. But I saw Wild Turkey makes a rye. Had no idea. So it's been a little while since I bought it, but it hadn't been too awful long because the bottles are similar, right? I don't know how long they've had this bottle design, but excuse me, but I can't believe that I haven't had the rye ever. So this is the first crack for me. All right, give it a little air. Gotta be careful, spill it all over everywhere. All right. So this is 101 as well. It's going to have its own rye mash bill, and everything in the rye mash bill family will stay the same, just like everything in the bourbon mash bill is the same ubiquitously across the entire line. And you know I'm still sober if I can say ubiquitously. Although I couldn't say sober. I don't know. All right. Okay, so this again, I did no research on this whatsoever. I don't know where this comes from. But if I had to guess by just the nose alone, I would tell you that this is probably at least a Lawrenceburg rye or a Lawrenceburg area rye, upper Kentucky rye. That's what it reminds me of just by the nose alone. It's got those really nice spices in it. Okay, there's a little ethanol on that one. But I stuck my nose down in the glass too, so that could be completely my fault. Just let me have a minute. Thank you. All right. So I'm getting that rye spiciness. Why is it asking me to share a password with you?
Because I needed to reset my Wi-Fi.
All right, going back to the nose on this one. So, the nose on this one is sweet. However, the rye is giving me images of like tobacco, only it's not tobacco. There's something about it that seems earthy, herby, but on the sweet side. It's quite unusual. I'm having trouble letting my olfactories wrap this up. A little bit of cereal in there. Cinnamons and vanillas like you'd expect. Kind of like a granola, but not. Again, it's not that earthy. It's not that grainy. And by grainy, I don't mean grainy in texture. I mean grainy in scent. There's a little bit of a fruit forwardness to it. It's really sedate. I don't know what it is. I don't know what kind of fruit is in it, but it's very, very sedate. It's not raisins. It's too sweet for that. It's not plums. That's too much of a go-to. It's something else. It's not citrus. Could be apple. I'm going to go with apple. There's just a little bit of apple on the nose with this one. It's pleasant. All right, let's let's quit sniffing and start sipping. That is nice. That is a very nice rye. It reminds me of some of the other ryes, like in that family of ryes. The Michter's rye, the Bullet rye, the Knob Creek rye, although Knob Creek is a lot more spicy than this, to me. At least the last time I had it, it's been a while. This does not give me any rye notes that I don't like. You know, it doesn't have that Washington rye, that Maryland rye, that Alberta rye, that cereal thing to it. That's not my thing. I'm not into that kind of rye. I love the Lawrenceburg rye, the Kentucky rye. This is a good Kentucky rye, and this has all those notes that I really like. It's a nice spice, but it's not too much. Again, the proof doesn't fly away with me. It's just, that is a nice rye. I'm going to see if I can pull out some notes. First thing I got on that one was oak. The smoky, oaky char of this barrel is coming out in all the right ways. It's not too much. It's not too little. It's just right. That is probably the predominant note that I got off the rye on that particular sip. So let's keep going. I'm going to have to pour more of this one. All right. How about a little sip? We'll do like a tip of the tongue sip. Yeah, really a nice oak of that. That oak is just really, really popping. Not so much that I've got splinters in my tongue, just really, really nice. Again, I like what I got off the nose. There's a nice blend of like a fruit, maybe apple, maybe. And there's your cinnamons and your vanillas. Those are really strong. That oak is probably the strongest note I'm getting here, and it's not overwhelming everything else. It's in perfect concert with everything else. I don't know the mash bill on this because I didn't do the research, but it presents to me like a low rye.
I know the mash bill.
What's the mash bill?
It is 51% rye, 37% corn, 12% malted barley.
So again, say that again. 51% rye,
It's 37% corn,
37 corn,
and 12%
12 malted barley. Okay, so the 12% malted barley is where I'm getting the fruit notes. I thought it was going to be a low rye, and I was right. 51% is the lowest rye that you can have and still call it a rye.
They're also saying apple on this too.
Apple.
So
No
you want
kidding.
an apple.
My palate's on fleek. Are they still saying on fleek?
Not as often, but yeah.
It's still,
It's still relevant.
Okay. I'm glad I pulled out that note. I'm feeling pretty confident in myself right now. I'm feeling pretty good. I think I might sit up a little straighter. All right. Tell you where else this stacks up. This stacks up against the Rittenhouse because it's a 51% rye. So is the Rittenhouse. So is the Pikesville. So is the Elijah Craig. So is the Sazerac. So if you're looking for an alternative to one of those, now this is going to be higher proof than all of those, except for the Pikesville. The Pikesville's up there. And so is the Rittenhouse. That's 100. That's a bottled in bond, so it's 100 proof. But this is going to stack up right there along with those low ryes that, you know, if you're a bourbon drinker and rye scares you away, then this would be a good one for you to go to. This is really tasty. This is a nice rye. Me likey. Just so you know, me really like it. I do tend to like the lower rye ryes, but I like a high rye too. I like a high rye bourbon. So it just depends on how you present it and how it mixes in with everything else and the barrel that you choose. And I mean, there's just so much that goes into it. You know that. All right, let's give this another pour, put some water on it, see what happens. Last time it kind of surprised me, so I'm not going to let it surprise me this time. I'm going to take a smaller sip. Gah. No, seriously. I'm not going to gulp this one. I want to find out what happens to it. All right. That was interesting. That was a smaller note, a smaller sip. Right on the tip of my tongue, surprisingly, I got some of those cereal notes that I didn't get before. A rye's a rye. It's going to have some of that stuff. Lawrenceburg rye, I find, tends to have less of those notes, which is why I tend to appreciate the Lawrenceburg ryes better. Or Kentucky rye, or wherever this comes from. All right. I don't notice that much of a difference in the bloom, but let's dump in it. I mean, again, I took a small sip that time because the last time it surprised me a little bit. So I'm going to go back in and give it the normal gulp and see if it gets me in all the same places as the other one did. Because I wasn't expecting that. That hit me. Larry's watching. Larry, how are you? Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Drinksgiving. Wild Turkey 101 on Turkey Day just seemed appropriate. And this is Bourbcast 185, and I still hadn't done anything on Wild Turkey except like I did the Wild Turkey 81 in a, beginning bourbons Bourbcast a while back. So it was grouped in with a bunch of other stuff. So I can't believe I didn't hit it until now. But maybe it's divine providence that I didn't hit it until now. It is Turkey Day. Turkey Day. All right. All right, a little bigger gulp this time. It does not attack me the way that bourbon did with water on it. Matter of fact, it didn't change it a whole lot, to be truthful. It might have opened up the flavors a little bit. Didn't do anything really to the proof. It didn't hit me hard. It didn't open up in all the same ways as the bourbon did. The bourbon surprised me with how much it changed. It didn't change. It just got amplified. Right. Everything that's in there, there's more of it. This one, not so much. The rye just continues to be a really nice pour. Again, I got a little bit more of those cereal notes on it with water than I did neat, but it's not something I dislike in this case. Very good. Very good. All right. I'm going to do a slight faux pas and reuse the gorgeous ice sphere that I used for the bourbon with the rye. I'm just going to give it a little sip. Yeah?
So you were getting to the ice, and I wanted to wait till you got to the ice for it. With the whiskey, you said that it gave you kind of a popcorn taste.
Yeah. Popcorn taste on the whiskey.
It's because of the mash bill. The mash bill in the normal whiskey is 75% corn.
75% corn on the normal mash bill. Okay. All right. Well, then that could be why I got popcorn on it a little bit on the ice. So now we'll do the rye on ice. I just sipped on it, so hopefully whatever remnants of the bourbon are gone. I just don't want to use another ice sphere. I made two, and I don't want to use the other one because I made two. Okay. Have a little more. And again, this goes out to young Eleanor, Paul's brand new daughter, Paul and Joanne, who had a miracle just last week. Eleanor was born. 10 fingers, 10 toes, perfect. So that finger stir was in honor of Eleanor. My aunt was Eleanor. One fewer L's, though. She was L-E-L-I. Eleanor, in their case, is E-L-L-I, as far as I understand it. That actually holds up really nice as well. So if you were looking for a rye forward, a rye to put in your cocktails, this is worth looking at. You know, a lot of times I would say use the Rittenhouse, but they're practically, I mean, Rittenhouse is 100 proof, 51% rye. 101 proof, 51% rye. Different companies, and different barrels and different things, but this is a really nice go-to for a cocktail. Cuts through that ice. I don't feel like it's been watered down. I don't feel like it's been muted too much. There's enough flavor there, even after cooling it down really nicely, that it would cut through. So if you're doing a Manhattan, an old-fashioned, Sazerac, whatever you want to do for the holiday weekend, you might give the Wild Turkey 101 Rye a shot, because it's actually quite good. Excuse me. Wow. Matter of fact, I'll tell you that I think on ice, the rye has got more flavor than the bourbon. There's more going on with the ice sphere, with the rye, than the bourbon. Just a lot more flavor. So if you like more of the flavor of the rye in a cocktail, you know, if you put in all the stuff, the simple syrups and the whatever, and you find yourself missing out on the flavor of the rye, this one is enhanced by the ice. Really, really nice flavors. Again, a very fruit-forward flavor. Say that 5 times fast whether you're sober or not. Fruit-forward flavor. Sorry. Okay, I'm done. No, I'm not. That's really good. That's really nice. All right, gang. Drinksgiving has just begun. Although it's over for us here tonight. I don't want to keep you off of too long because you got family in town perhaps, and there's still leftovers, and there's still bones to boil to make a nice broth. And there's stuff to do, and Mama's tired, and Daddy's tired, and yeah. Thank you for taking a half hour off to spend it with me. Have some pie, and have some turkey. Wild turkey. We will see you next week, and I need to tell you what's next week. I'm sorry I didn't have this ready. I'm a bad, bad person. Here. All right, so next week we are looking at where are we at? There we go. Drinksgiving, wild turkey. Okay, so I don't have it sitting out here, but we're gonna try a brand new one next week. I bought it like I want to say it was in 2020. I bought this bottle. I think it was part of a COVID collection run that we made to Kentucky. I spent a buttload of money that day, and it was fun. It was so much fun. I got in trouble when I got home, but I don't care. It was so much fun. But I picked this one up while I was down south, and it is the Thomas S. Moore Cabernet Sauvignon cask. I've never had a Thomas Moore of any type, and I know there's several different casks that they've done. Wine casks, and I think probably sherry casks, and blah, 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 blah. The person that I bought it from in Kentucky said that they thought that this one was the best. So, okay. Who am I to tell them they are wrong? I will listen. I will listen with both ears. Anyway, so that's the one we're doing next Thursday. Again, the Thomas S. Moore Cabernet Sauvignon cask. And with that, enjoy the rest of your turkey day, and thank you again so much for hanging out with us today. I appreciate it, and we will see you next Thursday.